Go.
Hello, Real Women of Philly. My name's Antonette. I'm from Mississauga, Ontario, and welcome to my kitchen. It's a source of constant chaos and also plenty of inspiration. Today I'm going to make for you a wild mushroom Philly appetizer. And what we have here is 2 tablespoons of butter, and half a cup of red onion, 2 cloves of garlic finely chopped, minced. We have 1.5 cups of cream. Today I'm using urban garlic Philly, so we have our urban garlic Philly, about a cupful. And we have blue cheese and some red wine, half a cup of red wine. Leftover red wine is fine, but let's face it, who has leftover red wine these days? But we'll pretend it's leftover red wine. So now what we're going to do is most of this is done on the frying pan on the stove, so we're going to do this, we're going to start with the butter and melt our butter and then get our ingredients together. So join me over to the stove and we'll get cooking. Okay, here we go. I've got the butter melting. It's nice and hot. And I'm going to add my onions and my garlic to the frying pan. And I'm going to give them a good stir. And I'm going to saute these for a little bit, just until they get nice and soft and the flavor starts to come out. And oh, I just love the smell of onions and garlic and butter. It just fills up the whole house. It's great. Okay, we're going to cook these for a little bit and then we're going to add some more of our ingredients. Okay, now our onions and garlic are nice and soft, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the heat a little bit and I'm going to add my red wine, my leftover red wine, and we're going to stir this a little bit, and then I'm going to continue to cook this a little until it reduces and gets a little bit thicker, and we'll come back at it when it's done that, and I'll see you in a minute. Now my red wine is reduced and it's nice and thick. Now if I neglected to mention earlier in the ingredients, we have 3 cups of mushrooms, wild mushrooms or anything you like. I have a mixture of cremini and portobello, but you can use any kind of mushroom you like, whatever you prefer, and even white button, it doesn't really matter. And I've chopped them up, not too big and not too small. So I'm going to add these to the red wine and garlic and onion mixture, and I'm going to cook them until they're soft. So we'll give that a good stir. And mushrooms really absorb a lot of the flavor, so you can imagine what kind of flavor they're getting right now with all the wine, the garlic, and the butter. It's really a great smell too. So we're going to stir these and we're going to cook them down for a little bit and continue with the recipe. Now our mushrooms have cooked down quite a bit, and we're going to add a nice generous pinch of salt to the mixture. And again, you can adjust this for taste later in case you haven't added enough. And a little bit of ground pepper. Okay, I'm going to stir this. The next ingredient is the cream. So I'm going to add the 1.5 cups of cream. And I'm going to give it a nice good stir. And then everything will incorporate and the cream will bring it all together. And I'm going to let this cook for another minute or 2. Until the cream gets a little bit thicker and it thickens the whole mixture. And then we'll continue. And you can see it's making a really nice color as well with the wine and stuff. It's a nice brown color. It's not too dark and not too light, but it'll look great when it's done. Okay, so now the cream has thickened quite a bit here, and we're just continuously stirring because you don't want it to stick to the pan. And now what we're going to do is add the last 2 ingredients, and that would be our Philly. And we're going to give that a good stir. And it's going to thicken up the sauce considerably once it gets all melted and incorporated. And it's going to add so much flavor with the herb and garlic. It's really great. So that's that. Okay. And let's see, the heat's good. Okay, see it's thickening. And the last ingredient is our blue cheese. I'm going to crumble that in and give it a stir as well. Now, you don't have to use blue cheese in this recipe. If it's too strong for your palate, then you can use goat cheese or any other kind of soft cheese that you prefer. Or you don't have to use the extra cheese at all. You can just sort of add more Philly and make just to thicken it a bit more, and that'll add great flavor to it because it's a good cheese, and it's got lots of good stuff in it. Okay. Now we're just about done. I'm going to give it another quick stir, make sure that all the Philly and the blue cheese has been incorporated into the mix. And now I'm going to give it a quick taste for seasoning. And it needs just a pinch more salt. Be careful with the salt and make sure you taste, because the cheeses are a little salty, so you have to be careful. You don't want to over salt. So I'm going to add a bit more salt and give it another stir. And you don't want it to bubble too much because you don't want it to burn, but it's good to get it, you know, reduced a bit more. Okay, so now we're done, and we can go over and plate, and let's go. Okay, now the best part is the eating. Now it can be used as an appetizer before a meal, and what I like to do is I like to take nice crusty bread and layer some of the, it's like a sauce, it becomes like a sauce here, and layer some on each slice of the bread. It's really good that way. And you can serve it warm just before when your guests arrive and you want to sit down and have supper, and there's your first course. You can also, if you have a crowd to feed, you can also serve it as a spread on toasts, and it's quite nice like this as well. You can just they can help themselves. It's delish. Or sometimes what I like to do, if I have a big crowd, I take phyllo dough or wonton shells in this case, and I stuff them and pop them in the oven, and they become a great little appetizer. So anyway, it's quite a versatile dip or spread, and it's something that you can do quickly enough because it only takes a few minutes on the stove, and you're set to go. And I'm just going to add a little bit of parsley, I think, on here just to give it some color. And that's great, and we're all done, and I hope you enjoyed this, and
food.
Honey, I'm filming. And it seems to go in my house. It is a favorite. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it today, and I hope you guys love it and as much as we do, and I thank you for the opportunity to do this today, and talk to you next time.